And this guy, John Cusack, who's an actor with marginal success, is actually calling on March 29th to be the day to blow up Teslas, and Crockett, too. Well, he should be indicted.
In case there was any doubt that the free speech and facts don't care about your feelings brigade have lost all credibility, look no further than this. MAGA Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene publicly lied about the statements of her Democratic colleague, Jasmine Crockett, regarding nonviolent protests of Elon Musk and Tesla. And then the next day, a major MAGA Fox News host, Brian Kilmeade, became visibly triggered, also lied about what this Democrat said, and then called for her to be arrested on air. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we got a lot to unpack here, but we're going to go in chronological order. Mediaite's reporting on both of these things. Marjorie Taylor Greene accuses Jasmine Crockett of organizing political violence over calls for anti-Musk and nonviolent protests. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene accused Representative Jasmine Crockett of organizing political violence and terrorism in an ex-post alerting Attorney General Pam Bondi. Crockett set off a number of MAGA figures after a video was shared of her saying her only birthday wish was for Elon Musk to be, quote, taken down. The Congresswoman made clear, however, that she was only promoting, quote, non-violent forms of protest. Crockett's comments were made during a live stream for the group #TeslaTakedown, which has organized protests outside of Tesla showrooms in recent weeks. Quote, I am truly here for very selfish reasons, starting on March 29th. It's my birthday, and all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes, she said. Quote, listen, I've learned as I've served on the Doge Oversight Committee that there is only one language that the people are in charge understand right now, and that language is money. Most of the social media videos did not include Crockett making the, quote, nonviolent part clear, although a graphic can be seen below calling for people to join a, quote, nonviolent protest against Musk. The clip was first shared by Laura Loomer, who claimed it was exclusive, though the entire live stream can be found on YouTube. The live stream also included filmmakers and activists Alex Winter and John Cusack. John Cusack, famous for his 1980s movies like Say Anything, although I really liked him in America's Sweethearts and Hot Tub Time Machine. Quote, obviously, everything I'm promoting is non-violent, Crockett said, calling for people to, quote, engage in protest. In response, Marjorie Taylor Greene goes on Twitter and says, a member of Congress is organizing political violence and terrorism at AG Pam Bondi and at FBI Director Cash. Musk himself responded to the short Loomer clip by simply saying, wow. Alex Jones responded as well. Sarah Rose, Clown World, I mean, therefore I am. Devery Darkins, Alan Jacoby. Dave Rubin called it, quote, absolutely insensitive rhetoric during the Rubin report, while Kayleigh McEnany, also, she's Donald Trump's former press secretary and a Fox News host, called out Crockett on Fox News for her, quote, astonishing words, though McEnany did note that Crockett, quote, insists she was peaceful, okay? So, that's what happened first. Again, Crockett making it very clear, you don't even have to intuit her words. She just said it specifically, that she is promoting non-violent protest, okay? So Marjorie Taylor Greene lies. It's what MAGA Republican lawmakers do. Well, it's not just MAGA Republican lawmakers. It's also MAGA Republican Fox News hosts also are lying as well. So we're going to play this clip in which a very triggered Brian Kilmeade calls for the arrest of John Cusack and Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
So that was where people on the left talking about the threat of domestic terrorism, white nationalism, everything from January 6th. But what about this? You're driving a Tesla car and someone smashes your window. You're working at a dealership. They smash the whole fleet. They put them on fire. You're charging your car. They're trying to rip the hoses off the charging stations. Finally, they got three defendants will face full force of the law for using Molotov cocktails to fire up Tesla cars and those charging stations. These guys, 5 to 10 years in prison, they should be looking at, and they should be giving up who organized it and who's paying them. And this guy, John Cusack, who's an actor with marginal success, is actually calling on March 29th to be the day to blow up Teslas, and Crockett, too. Well, he should be indicted.
Well, there's something different about this moment because Democrats.
So they should be indicted. They should be indicted, according to Brian Kilmeade, for calling for non-violent protests. Again, Mediaite reports on this. Brian Kilmeade falsely claims Musk critics Cusack and Crockett said to blow up Tesla, calls for their arrest. Crockett has drawn fire for her comments on a hashtag Tesla takedown live stream this week. Musk's actions have precipitated a wave of protests as well as vandalism that includes setting cars on fire at dealerships. But Crockett and the event she spoke at were clear about supporting peaceful protests. So you hear what Kilmeade had to say. Cusack heavily criticized Musk on the live stream, even accusing him of, quote, literally killing people, but he did not say people should, quote, blow up Teslas on March 29th or any other date. So what do you have here? Well, you have a MAGA Republican Congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a MAGA Fox News host, Brian Kilmeade, getting triggered, flipping out, lying about what the people they're criticizing said, and in the case of Kilmeade, calling for their arrest. State power should be used to punish this actor and a sitting Democratic congressperson because they're criticizing Elon Musk. It's fascinating. Again, I say, the free speech and, facts don't care about your feelings gang brigade, they've lost all credibility because the facts are that neither Cusack nor Crockett advocated for violence. In the case of Crockett, she specifically, explicitly said that she's calling for non-violent protests, which is her right. And so you lied about what they said or what they didn't say, and then you call for their arrest. You call for state action to be taken away from them. Imagine if under the Biden administration, when MAGA Republican lawmakers and influencers were calling for the, let's say, the protests of Bud Light or Colin Kaepernick or Target or Gillette or whatever culture war issue they happen to have at the time. Imagine if an MSNBC host and, let's say, Jasmine Crockett herself, let's just flip it in the case of Greene, called for lawmakers, Democratic lawmakers, or MAGA influencers to be arrested. Oh, they're advocating for violent protests. They need to be arrested. Well, you actually need to prove that they did advocate for violent protests. And then even that, depending on how they worded it, it may not be a direct call to incitement. That's why we have free speech laws in this country. So again, what this shows is an insecurity on the part of the MAGA movement, a hypocrisy on the MAGA movement, which is unparalleled compared to anything on the left or with the Democratic Party. And it also goes to show that these people are not principled, and once they get power, be it in the media or state power in the case of Marjorie Taylor Greene, they will actively try to use it to suppress critics, suppress dissent. MAGA doesn't care about free speech. MAGA does not support free speech. If you criticize Donald Trump, they believe you should be punished accordingly. If you criticize Elon Musk because he's Donald Trump's closest advisor, aka shadow president, co-president, biggest political donor, you should also suffer consequences as well. They don't think you have the right to protest Tesla, to celebrate Tesla's dire straits with respect to stocks. They think that should be forbidden. But if the shoe were on the other foot, and if it were a woke company, if it were Disney or whatever, then you should be permitted to say and do and advocate for whatever the hell you want. The point is that the left needs to remember this. Democrats need to remember this. You and I need to remember this as we engage with the right on a day-to-day basis. Again, MAGA as a movement collectively just has no credibility with respect to free speech. Now, there are some principled conservatives out there, probably even some principled Trump supporters out there who disagree with Trump's hypocrisy and his censorious instincts. I don't know how you can do that and still act in good faith, because if you truly value free speech, you probably shouldn't be supporting a guy who is so blatantly, objectively anti-free speech, along with, the higher ups in his cult of personality that clearly feel the same way. I'm not sure how you square that circle. It seems to be a dissonance. But principled free speech actors should say, okay, well, violent protests should be condemned, but it's perfectly acceptable to boycott Teslas, to call for a mass boycott of Teslas, to try to punish Tesla in the stock market and in the marketplace of ideas. Vote with your wallet. Republicans have gleefully employed such strategies in the past or attempted to do so. That's their right, and people have the right to try to do the same thing to Musk. And there's nothing wrong with a Democratic lawmaker cheerleading it on, especially when she goes out of her way to clarify she does not support violent protests or violence in general. But that's not enough for these MAGA cultists, both on Fox News and in the Republican Party in terms of its elected representatives. because any act of defiance against Trump and Musk is something that should not only be condemned, it should apparently be punished by the powers of the state. Genuinely unhinged. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.